The last guardian of Camelot. Long ago, when magic and legends were alive, there was a mighty kingdom called Camelot, ruled by the wise and noble King Arthur. He was aided by his loyal knights, his faithful wizard Merlin, and his brave griffin Gwyn. Gwyn was a magnificent creature, with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle. He was the king's companion and protector, and he loved flying over the green fields and forests of Camelot. But one day, a terrible war broke out between Camelot and its enemies. The forces of evil, led by the wicked sorceress Morgana, attacked the kingdom with dark magic and fierce beasts. King Arthur and his knights fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. Gwyn fought by the king's side, swooping down from the sky and tearing apart the enemies with his claws and beak. But even he could not stop the tide of destruction. In the final battle, King Arthur faced Morgana in a duel of swords and spells. They clashed with great fury, but Morgana proved to be too powerful. She wounded the king with a cursed blade, and he fell to the ground. Gwyn saw his master fall, and he let out a roar of grief and rage. He flew towards Morgana, ready to avenge his king. But before he could reach her, Merlin intervened. He cast a spell that created a bright flash of light, blinding Morgana and her army. He then grabbed the king and Gwyn, and teleported them away from the battlefield. They appeared in a hidden chamber, deep beneath the ruins of Camelot. The city was burning and crumbling, and the people were fleeing or dying. Merlin laid the king on a stone bed, and looked at him with sorrow. He told him that his wound was fatal, and that he could not heal him. He said that he had to take him to a place called Avalon, where he would rest until the time was right for him to return. He said that he had to leave Gwyn behind, to guard the secrets of Camelot and wait for the king's return. He said that it was the king's last wish, and that Gwyn was the only one who could do it. Gwyn did not want to leave his king, but he obeyed his command. He swore to Merlin that he would protect Camelot with his life, and that he would never abandon his duty. Merlin nodded, and thanked him for his loyalty. He then placed a golden collar around Gwyn's neck, and said that it was a gift from the king. He said that it was enchanted, and that it would grant Gwyn immortality and wisdom. He said that it would also allow him to communicate with Merlin, who would watch over him from afar. He said that he would return someday, with the king, and that they would restore Camelot to its glory. He then kissed Gwyn's forehead, and said farewell. He lifted the king in his arms, and walked towards a hidden door. He opened it, and disappeared into the darkness. Gwyn was left alone, in the Chamber of Secrets. He felt a surge of sadness and loneliness, but he also felt a spark of hope. He believed in Merlin's words, and he trusted in his king's promise. He decided to dedicate his life to his mission, and to honor his king's memory. He flew out of the chamber, and soared over the ruins of Camelot. He saw the enemy army retreating, and the survivors of Camelot scattering. He saw the fires dying, and the smoke rising. He saw the end of an era, and the beginning of a new one. He did not know how much time had passed, but he did not care. He kept flying over Camelot, day and night, rain and shine, summer and winter. He watched as the city decayed and crumbled, as the plants and animals reclaimed it, as the people forgot about it. He watched as the world changed, as new kingdoms rose and fell, as new wars and peace came and went, as new inventions and discoveries were made. He watched, but he did not interfere. He stayed hidden, and he stayed loyal. He was the last guardian of Camelot, and he would not fail his king. He often wondered what the world was like, beyond Camelot. He wondered what new lands and cultures and wonders existed. He wondered what new friends and foes and challenges awaited. He wondered if he would ever see the world, and if the world would ever see him. He wondered if he would ever be free, and if he would ever be happy. He wondered, but he did not act. He was bound by his duty, and he would not break it. He was the last griffin in the world, and he would not leave it. He sometimes heard Merlin's voice, in his mind. He heard him telling him stories and news and jokes. He heard him giving him advice and comfort and praise. He heard him saying that he was proud of him, and that he was not alone. He heard him saying that he was still alive, and that he was still working on his plan. He heard him saying that he would come back soon, and that he would bring the king with him. He heard him saying that he loved him, and that he missed him. He heard, and he answered. He was grateful for his friend, and he would not forget him. He was the last hope of Camelot, and he would not lose it. He always dreamed of the day when Merlin and the king would return. He dreamed of seeing them again, and of hearing their voices and feeling their touch. He dreamed of flying with them, and of fighting by their side. He dreamed of rebuilding Camelot, and of restoring its magic and glory. He dreamed of living in peace, and of being happy. He dreamed, and he waited. He was faithful to his promise, and he would not break it. He was the last legend of Camelot, and he would not die.